Secondly is we have to know that Sahaja Yoga as it is today is a collective happening. I find, especially among Indian men, they never do any work with their hands, which is a wrong thing. Because they don't use their hands at all, their collectivity is poor, very poor. Indians have the worst collectivity. If you have an ashram, I don't know why should we build an ashram, nobody is going to stay there. They want to have their own houses, their own families, their own children. They are the worst of all for collectivity. The reason is Indian men never do any work with their hands. They cannot nail one nail. There are many like that. Leave alone repairing anything. They will stand with their hands on their hips and would just tell work to other people. See, there's a Marathi saying, very interesting, untavarun sheळ्या हाकणे. That is to sit on a camel and to drive the goats. So that is very typical of Indian men. They cannot repair anything, they cannot do anything now. If supposing somebody is spreading something, they'll just stand like this, watch. They'll never put their hands to it. So for every Sahaja Yogi, it is important what we call as Sramadan. They have to do some Sramadan. Sramadan means the giving of some labor. And that is what we lack. That even if it comes to that, you better clean your house. You better clean outside of your house. Try to put some garden around your house. Try to paint your house. Do some sort of a work with your hand, which even if you don't have anything, you can even brush your hair or something like that. Whatever you think is the easiest you can start with, because I don't think people even do that. Even they don't shave themselves, they get a person to shave them. I mean, absolutely lazy lumps as that. Now, but on the contrary, we see in the West, people use their hands. Because of that, you see, because they can use their hands, they are very collective. So they score a point on being collective. While the Indians score a point because they are Indians and they have a heritage and they know what is Kundalini, they know about Ganesha, they know everything. So they score a point this side. So it's the left side is the desire, the right side is the action. Again we come back to the same position where we have an imbalance. That the action takes place in the West and here is only thinking, all right, we'll do this, planning. Everything in the planning pot. Nothing works out, you go on planning. Now we are building one single ashram in Delhi for the last, I think, 10 years. It is like Taj Mahal, I tell you. It's so difficult, you see, to understand why they have taken so much time, and it's not a very big place, nothing. But it is not only the Sahaja Yogis, but other factors also. Because everybody is like that. Everything is postponed. Everything is to be done tomorrow. We'll do tomorrow. Then one person will come, another person won't come. Like we used to have in the school, we would get a sum like that or something to solve. That see, there are one house was built. 3 persons came to work and 1 ran away. Then 2 persons came to work and 1 stayed and 2 ran away. And then 5 persons came to work and 2 persons ran away. So when will the house be finished? Never. With such runaways, it can never be finished. It's like that. So this is where we lack collectivity. I was saying that all Indians must find out some place where they could go and plant something. Get hold of some sort of a place where they could go and plant some nice banyan trees, water it together, work it out together. Now the Indian women are that way better. They do a lot of work as far as the cooking is concerned and all that. But the other part is missing. The other part is intelligence. The other part is to think. Now, if all the time what they are thinking, oh, my husband likes this, I must cook this for him. And now, if the husband has to have a say a lemon with his food. Now there's no lemon in the house, this woman would run up and down all over the place to get the lemon for the husband, but otherwise he will not eat the food. Doesn't matter, once in a while if he doesn't eat, it's all right. But the women will try, because you see, they must keep they understand one thing, that you must keep their palate all right, then they are quite sensible in India. Because here, they are real tigers, all the husbands are like tigers. So you have to keep them feeding, otherwise, you see, God knows when the tiger will jump on you. The other way around, in England or America I have seen, the husbands are just like goats and the women are like tigers. And the westernized Indian women also are like that. And when they go to West, even simple women, I've seen they become like tigresses. Something surprising how they change immediately to the position, even if they may not wear the jeans and all those things, but they become like that. So this imbalancing starts in a human being when he doesn't understand that you have to the axis of the Mother Earth and neither the Capricorn or the Cancer. This balance comes through our depth, and that depth has to be improved. Not through just by talking about it, by talking about Sahaja Yoga, but actually seriously doing meditation. Actually seriously doing meditation. Secondly, we must do some collective work. Now we have in India, say, architects. They have never touched anything with their own hands. They are sitting and drawing. See, that's all, finished. Now after the drawing, do what you like. Now there are problems, practical problems. They cannot nail one nail. All are what we call them as white-collared, pandar-peshas. Absolutely useless for any handwork. They cannot do any handwork whatsoever. Even if they have to lift, say, one of these chairs and stretch them, they cannot do it normally. So, under these circumstances, one has to understand that we come from a society which is absolutely ruinous as far as collectivity is concerned. So let us be collective. Let us try to do something collective. But the collectivity is so poor in India, so poor, that even they do not treat their wives nicely. They will not talk to their wife nicely, to their children nicely. To them it is absolutely adharmic to be kind to their wives. Now the other side is that the Western people care so much for collectivity that whatever it is they try to compromise and try to keep the family life all right. So it's the true extremes as we have. Despite that, somehow, thanks to the wisdom of Indian women, the family life is going strong. But if you see such women, such men in England, I can tell you nobody will stand the nonsense that Indian men do to their women here. Absolutely. It cannot be forgiven the way they behave. So the balance between the women and men, what is the axis is the home. Home is the axis. In the home, what sort of talks you have? What do you think about? What is your problem? Where is your attention? What do you discuss? That's very important to see. In that you will find out what is going on in the family. Say you are talking ill of each other. If you are telling your child against your husband, husband is telling the wife against, telling the children about against the husband, like that. If it is going on like that, then what happens? That there cannot be the axis which is all right. The axis is love. Axis is love, but not exploitation nor spoiling. Is love. In country like ours, see what is the axis we have? The axis of our country is Adhyatma. We have to now get over this hankering after money, development, this, that. First take to Adhyatma. If people get realization before they are developed, there won't be the problem of creating another America here. We don't have to become communist. We don't have to do anything like that, because communists are just the same as Americans. There's no difference at all in temperament. If American is allowed to stay in Russia, he'll behave the same way as a Russian behaves. And if a Russian is sent to America, he'll behave the same way as the Americans behave. There's no change at all. Now, if the access of Adhyatma in any country where a person achieves his spiritual ascent becomes the most important thing and is achieved, then any amount of development, any amount of all these things cannot destroy that country, cannot create wars. There will be peace everywhere, there will be enjoyment everywhere. So on this day of Makar Sankrant, let us say now the Sankrant is over and we have to look forward to the new age of a new moon blessing us and the great sun coming over to give us all the energy we need to celebrate the advent of the golden age of Saju. May God bless you.